So here we are with the brand new 2019 Mac Pro in all of its cheese gratery goodness. When buying this computer, you have many different options to choose from when it comes to the specs. Apple has given its users many different choices when it comes to the CPU, the RAM, and the GPU. For our studio, we chose to get the mid-range CPU that Apple offers because we don't have too many super intensive tasks to throw at our CPU. Out of all of the upgradable options, the CPU is also the hardest to get to and replace it yourself, so we decided to go a little higher than what we might need at the start, so that down the line the CPU that we do have will support any work that we have further on. Since the RAM and the GPU are both easily accessible, we chose to get the lowest option for both. For both the RAM and the GPU, it didn't make sense for us to pay Apple a few $100s more each just so they can add more hardware when we can do it ourselves. Inside the computer, the RAM slots and the PCIe slots are both super accessible, and there's many of those slots, so you don't even have to remove the components that Apple has provided. You can always add more onto what they have. If we look back at the last two versions of the Mac Pro, we can see that it went full circle from the Cheese Grater design to the Trashcan. And now, after the 2013 Trashcan design, Apple has been hearing the feedback of its users and going back to the design of the Cheese Grater. However, they've taken that design and made it super nice, sleek, and modern. The previous Cheese Grater Mac Pro was the last of Apple's products to be super accessible. The 2013 Trashcan design took every bit of user accessibility and threw it out the window. Apple wanted to be Apple and innovate as much as they could. However, by doing so, all of the accessibility that the users loved was gone away. On top of that, since there was only one fan in this Trashcan design, this computer often overheats and is quite noisy due to the fan always spinning when it heats up. This 2019 Mac Pro is super quiet. I turned it on for the first time and I didn't even realize that it was on because of how quiet the fans are. On the inside, when you open the lid, you'll notice three big fans on the front. These fans work with all of the heat that's on this side of the computer. On the back, there's a small fan right here that deals with the rest of the heat on the back side. If you're familiar with the previous Mac Pros, you'll notice that while the overall design is similar to the way that the Cheese Grater looked, the way that you open up this computer is actually more similar to the way you would open up the Trashcan. On the Trashcan, on the back, there's a little lock that you just click and pull off the top. While looking at the inside of the 2013 Trashcan Mac Pro, you may be trying to find all the usual components that make up a computer. But after having a look around, all you'll be able to find are the RAM slots and an M.2 drive, along with two motherboard-looking PCBs. And then on the back, you'll have all of your I/O. As inconvenient as it is to have a computer like this that you can't really do anything to, I will say that Apple did an amazing job fitting all the pieces of the computer into this tiny little case the size of my head. But obviously it didn't come without some hardships. Hopefully we won't be having any of those problems with this new Mac Pro because it's nice and open, quiet, and lots of accessibility. Another bonus to how this Mac Pro was built is that they have access to both the front and the back with components on both sides. On the back they have all of their RAM slots, which you can access and add more if you please. This is different from the old Cheese Grater Mac Pro because back then you could only open up that one front panel. If you were going to work inside this old Cheese Grater Mac Pro, the only access you'd have is through this one side panel by opening the latch and pulling off this window. By quickly looking inside, you can tell that there's not as much open space and there's a lot more components in here taking up space. These Mac Pros have an optical drive on the front, which takes up a lot of space, especially when there's two drives. There's also 4 hard drive bays, which also take up a lot of space. Since components in this computer weren't as accessible as this, Apple put a lot of their components on this computer on trays which you can slide out to access better. Here on this tray we have 2 CPUs with their heatsinks and 8 RAM DIMMs. This slides in and connects with this massive connector into the bottom of the motherboard. As you can see, putting it back isn't always the nicest thing to do. Like a server, they also have all of their hard drives on pull-out trays. All you do is click this button, pull it out, and then to put it back, you line it up and put it back in. You may notice that the new Mac Pro doesn't have any hard drives. There is, however, a space at the top where you can buy an additional bracket that holds a few hard drives. As for the internal storage, this Mac Pro uses SSDs. They're kept right along the front on the right-hand side. While looking into both of these computers, you'll notice that the new Mac Pro has almost double the amount of PCIe slots as the old Cheesegrater Mac Pro. On top of that, these ones are so much more satisfying due to the PCIe lock. When you're not working on the components, there's a little lock that holds down all of your PCIe locks. Unlike on PC motherboards where they have the individual PCIe locks, this computer uses one master lock to control every lock. All you have to do is reach above the PCIe slots, and then click it and it's open. Now you can pull them out as you wish. When you're done, all you have to do is click it back, and now every PCIe slot is locked. You may be looking at this new Mac Pro wondering where the GPU is, because you don't see any flashy colors like this GPU here. And that's because Apple has put their stock Radeon GPUs in these sleek black boxes. This helps with the overall airflow, but it also makes it look nice and sleek. Though just because this GPU is nice and sleek and black, that doesn't mean you have to do the exact same thing with any other GPUs that you add. You could go out and get the flashiest, most crazy looking GPU and put it right above here, though no one's going to see it because it's going to be covered up with this metal case. When looking inside both of the old Mac Pros, you'll notice that all the PCB boards are black. In the 2019 version, this is nothing new. You'll notice on their main motherboard in the back that it's all black, as well as the stock I/O card that it comes with. On the back of this I/O card, it comes with a headphone jack, 2 USB-C ports, and 2 USB-A ports. On the back, if you switch it over, you'll notice that there's no RAM. And this is because, as with everything else, it's been hidden with a nice sleek plastic case. Just like the PCIe slots, all you have to do is unlock it, take the case off. You might be thinking that this super old Mac Pro had 8 RAM slots, but this one only has 6? Nope. If we come down here, we'll see another 6 for a total of 12. It seems like it would make more sense to just put them all at the top, but Apple has gone ahead and printed out on the back of these RAM covers the most optimal slots to plug in our RAM. Since we bought this computer with only 4 sticks of RAM, those were the 4 black ones that you see here. Then we went out and bought 2 more sticks of 32 gigs each. Since we were adding more RAM, we double checked with this diagram and plugged it in accordingly. By placing the computers like this, you can really tell how much Apple wanted to go back to the computer that everyone loved. While the Trashcan was a nice innovative product at the time, the fact that it took Apple 6 whole years to update this product is pretty astounding considering how much it looks like the old one. The fact that the Mac Pro has gone up so high in price over the past few years means that not many people will be buying one of these or even needing one, especially considering that the highest model is the same price as a really nice car. If you like the look of the brand new 2019 Mac Pro, there's a brand new crowdfunded product that looks very similar to this case, but you can make your own PC inside of it. The case itself doesn't come off like this one. The accessibility is actually more like this, where you have an opening on the side. But if you like the look of it, it's great. If you want to learn how to build a PC, I have a full series on how to build a PC where I go through each part that you'll be buying and how to build it. So check that out and feel free to subscribe if you like this video. And comment down below if you'd like to see me do a full running tour of this computer up and running. Thanks for watching. Peace.